All right, everyone, it is confirmed that Donald Trump will be skipping the GOP debate to be held in Milwaukee. It still was up in the air until not long ago, but I needed to analyze this because it actually holds great import within the 24 primaries for the GOP. Donald Trump is effectively positioning himself as an incumbent. He's asserting his hegemony over the party. When he refuses to debate, it's effectively an establishment of that incumbency because incumbents typically don't debate. Trump didn't have to debate anyone in 2020. In any incumbent election, that tends to be the case. Joe Biden in this election is not debating RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson because he's the incumbent. Trump is simply establishing, and it's partially psychological, hey, I'm 34 points ahead. I'm apparently going to be the nominee. I don't need to go down on the debate stage at all and play smagadabadoo yo ass with a bunch of also-rans when I could be focusing on preparing to beat Joe Biden in the general election, or whoever the nominee is. Again, likely Biden, unless he steps aside, or unless he dies or something. Suppose they'd have to pay him, the big guy, quite a bit more than 10% in order to get him to stand down. Joe, we'll just say that you did a great job, but you're too fucking old, so, step aside. Then we can get someone younger and use the age issue against Donald Trump because he's, in his 70s. We'll get Buttigieg to run or something. That's possible. There's still time for them to swap him out if they think that they need to. And I do think that Joe Biden, while he's kind of vegetative and doesn't make his own choices, he does have a big ego, and he still sees himself genuinely as the big guy who will wrap a chain around your neck for threatening to cut him at a swimming pool back in 1957. I think he still sees himself as the motorbike riding greaser, which is delusional and evidence of his cognitive decline, but I think he genuinely still sees himself that way. He thinks it's the Coke days of the early 80s or something, and he's still middle-aged. Trump, in skipping the debate, possibly wins big, and it's kind of a gamble. You could win or lose on this premise. In the absence of Trump being there, the other candidates are mainly going to be asked about their records. Some of them have shown a reluctance to not simply talk about Donald. So the debate may end up being about Trump while Trump is not even physically there. Also, fewer people will watch it. Without Donald Trump there, about half of the potential audience will only hate watch it if they do at all, and Trump can drain more oxygen out of the room, and this is probably what he's going to do. On that day, you can hold a competing event. You can have a rally or something. People watch that preferentially because they don't know what zany shit Donald might say, whereas they kind of know where the other candidates are coming from. It'll basically, the debate will devolve into Mike Pence cell phoning, Christie moaning about Trump and attacking Pence probably, saying, well, you were his vice president, why didn't you stop him? Something to that effect. By the way, that's advantage Christie, actually, in the debate. He'll probably manhandle Mike Pence and shove him down further. He might even crawl his way into the top 3 if he plays it right. And then Ramaswamy will pull his punches. Christie will probably go after him, too. And it'll be a free-for-all. But Trump's not there, so who cares? One really big thing Trump could do is to get back on Twitter a few hours before the debate begins to say, I'm back, babies, or something like that. Just one little line. Everyone all of a sudden will be live. They'll pour onto Twitter, everyone who has an account, which is a significant proportion of Americans, by the way. They'll get onto Twitter and they'll be like refreshing the page every 5 seconds to see if Devious Donald's going to say something crazy. Throw a grenade onto the debate stage, so to speak. He would be well served if he were to live tweet, actually, about the debate and just gobble the news cycle down. This is what he should do. This is what I would advise him to do. Get back on Twitter a few hours before and then say, oh, let's have some fun, and then react to the crazy shit that the other candidates are saying. By the way, the moderators being forewarned that they're being watched and talked about live by Trump will get nervous, and they'll probably make mistakes. They'll get nervous about it because like, oh God, we had a reprieve for so long. There were no mean tweets. Shit, this is going to be shit fest. And then he attacks Christie and Pence and all of the others on anything that they say. More people would pay attention to Trump's tweeting than to the debate. And he could get that material out faster and quicker because of so many people reacting and retweeting and so forth than the news cycle can. Otherwise, it'll be the legacy media spinning what's said on the debate stage, especially any questions that relate to Trump or any statements about him, mainly from Christie and possibly Pence, by the way. But if Trump does it himself to his massive audience there, well, it limits the ability of the legacy media to spin cycle it now, doesn't it? Donald Trump has a real possible win in the making. The thing is, he has stubbornly claimed he's never getting back on Twitter. In this particular instance, I think that would be a mistake, because you have the capability of knocking several people out of the field entirely, knocking the legacy media on its ass, and ending up with a free-for-all chaotic affair in which tens of millions of people are sitting there live cheering you and ignoring what's being said by the people on the debate stage. It would be the ultimate show of dominance over the Republican Party. It's just unfortunately unlikely to happen. And while I would have liked to have seen Donald Trump on the debate stage, it would definitely make it worth watching, as opposed to, I mean, again, with a bunch of also-rans, DeSantis is going to be the only one in the room with a political pulse, basically, and he'll slow walk it. Christie will attack him, and Pence and Ramaswamy. Now, maybe Nikki Haley, probably less. And Haley will talk about how great her record is on foreign policy, and everyone will laugh at that. It'll be boring. It's just a bunch of boring politicians without Trump on the stage. The only other one there that might say something off the wall is, ironically, DeSantis. But when he says something that's off the wall, it's because he's making a mistake. It's not because he's memeing it up. Donald Trump is officially treating the debate as effectively a job application for the vice presidential slot to be running mate. And so he's completely dismissive of it. But if he were to live react to it, if he just decides to swallow his pride this one time and get back on Twitter, then it's going to be an epic win. I calculate only about a 10% chance, unfortunately, if that happens. We will likely be deprived of what could be one of the most legendary moments of modern U.S. politics, which is effectively Trump coming down the escalator a second time, this time digitally, and then proceeding to curb stomp the rest of the field into oblivion. I'm begging the people, I know that at least a couple of people that work directly with Trump do pay attention to my material. I would beg you to tell Donald that that's what he should do. He'll knock them all on their ass immediately. It would, to great uproarious applause. It would be the most hilarious thing ever. If you're going to be entertainer-in-chief as well, as you were as president before, and it does work, and it was very amusing as well as good policy, get back into it. This is the way to step back into the power of 2016. You can do it, in only a few short days if you choose to. And it starts in Milwaukee, which is highly funny as well. That's about all. Peace out.